This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon and welcome in to a Sunday edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on Dolynny TV. And it is one of those famous Tyson rambles where you're going to see a whole bunch of nothing makes sense, but essentially we're just going to talk about the fact that, well, we're 2 days away from the NHL draft, and I've been combing Twitter hard today to try and generate any kind of idea, any topic to talk about when it comes to our Edmonton Oilers today. But today, my friends, is indeed the calm before the storm. So what am I trying to achieve in this video is just essentially give you kind of my realistic expectations for Tuesday, because Tuesday is the first round of the NHL entry draft. Then we have the second round on Wednesday the 7th. So we're couple days away from a lot of big things happening, and realistically, if I could book both days off work, I would. However, I can't book either day off work, and I'll be lucky to get out of work in time to start the draft on Tuesday. That said, do I have any tempered expectations because I'm not going to be able to sit here and watch it all happen potentially? No. That's the thing, right? This is going to be potentially, and Bob Stauffer and Jack Michaels said it, one of the Oilers' most active drafts in recent memory. And I mean, 2015 draft was pretty active for the Oilers, so keep that in mind as well. As there's a lot of potential to get things going here. Obviously, the question surrounds the first round pick, Seth Jarvis, somebody else, or do you trade it for other draft picks? What do you do with guys like Benning? What do you do with guys like Athanasiou when it comes down to the day? Because you can trade their rights still on the 6th, the negotiating rights, their RFA, and that still allows a team to qualify them on October 7th. So there's that little bit of a gap that really gets things interesting on, of course, October 6th, the first round. So that's three little storylines there, of course, and then hey, you don't know. You don't know what else can shake out. I know we all kind of expected Ken Holland to maybe pull a move or two before this weekend came up. However, we've seen nothing. So I'm going to ask you this kind of question, and I'm going to put it to you this way. Is if Ken Holland hasn't done anything yet, how can you expect him to do nothing at the draft? That's the way I look at it. Is it maybe one of those things that today, a little bit later on, probably around 4 o'clock, we get some big news, or around supper time, or is it something noon tomorrow, famous Oilers news comes out while I'm at work like every other day? That's just the way the Oilers seem to do it. But, right, is maybe between today and tomorrow we get some big Oilers trade news, or do we end up leaving it all for draft day 1 and 2 and then seeing where the Oilers end up looking from there? And I mean, it's not exactly the worst thing in the world if the Oilers leave it to draft day, because, right, is then you can kind of figure out, you get through the draft, you get through everything all in 2 days, and then you have your let's put the pieces together in the next couple days before free agency, because you go 7th, right? The 7th, I think, honestly, for Oilers news, looking at it this way, the 6th is going to be a big day because it's the first round, always is. The 7th is going to be an absolutely massive day. Absolutely massive. And then, of course, then you have the 8th, which will be the final hour to do anything with the current team. And then, my goodness, good night. It is free agency on Friday. Hopefully I can book that day off work, and we can have ourselves a mad day like we did back on July 1st this past season. So guys, that's what we're kind of looking at, right? We're kind of looking at that as all around the busiest time of the off season so far, coming up in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 days, whatever you want to call it. But the question still surrounds, and I think that's the most beautiful part of this. Don't get me wrong. I love this because this is causing chaos amongst the Oilers fans and media. Is there's no moves, what moves are being made, and we've been linked to so much talent, so much different kind of play styles, so much else not linked directly to the Oilers as of right now in this lead up, that it is so crazy what could end up happening by the time we get done October 9th. And I mean, here's the thing. We expect craziness because we want craziness because we want it, A, for something to talk about, B, because we want the team to get better, and the only way to do that is through some very crazy suggestions, or C, right, is just, you know what, give us something. Give us something, anything. And that's kind of what the craziness would. Even if it's bad craziness, at least still something, like I said, circle back to point A, to talk about. So, yeah, what do? I guess, end of the day, we just have to sit here and wait. And I mean, like I said, today I've been sitting here kind of combing through Twitter, refreshing. What's the news? And now you've got the Oilers re-putting out the panel that this could be a currency pick with the first round overall. So yeah, the question remains, what do you do with so much of this roster? Obviously, yes. First round pick, Athanasiu, Benning. You got to sign some guys. Backup goaltender, what do you do? Do you trade Mikko Koskinen? I know that's something we talked about way earlier, but that was kind of the start of all this craziness leading up to the draft. And now all of a sudden, again, just because we're in Oilers land, we had to throw Taylor Hall's name into the mix too. So you've got now potentially a Nuge trade floating around somehow, some way. And it is absolutely mass chaos. And guys, I said it in the Yes Pugliarvi video, I love to watch the world burn, and this is potentially going to be one of those weeks in Oilers land where the pick gets made or the pick doesn't get made, this guy gets traded or this guy doesn't get traded, this guy gets signed over that guy or this or that, and somehow we come out with a team that's either 100 times better than it was, 10 times better than it was, the same as it was, worse than it was, a million times worse than it was. Hey, you know what? The way these Oilers rumors have been running wild this past 2 weeks leading up to this weekend, and of course what's coming in the next few days, Connor McDavid could get traded for a bag of pucks by the looks of it at this point. Just the kind of craziness that's floating around there, ideas in Oilers fans' brains and stuff. So it would be amazing kind of to see at least some chaos come to fruition. Obviously not that kind of chaos. I mean, I'm making a hyperbole for an example. But simply put, we need some chaos. And I mean, I'm not saying I need the chaos to sit here and talk on YouTube. We need the chaos just to, I don't know if it's stay relevant, but just to keep the Oilers top of mind as we go into kind of after October 9th. It could end up being a quiet November, December, heck even January, as there's now people rumoring the season might not start till February depending on what's going on across the world, right? You just don't know. We're getting back to that point at this point, so it's tough, but my friends, we will keep going through it. We have kept going through it. It's been a good start to October. Lots of Oilers news to discuss, and I think it was probably well worth my time to sit here and wait till 2 o'clock in the afternoon to record a video. Wait and at least let you guys breathe after the big day. 4 videos yesterday. Thanks to everyone that tuned into those. And I will let you go. No, we're not going to full 10 minutes here. You don't want to hear me ramble for a full 10 minutes. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. I will catch you tomorrow, hopefully, or maybe today with some big Oilers trade news. Who knows? We'll find out. I'm up on out of here.